DivaDollFlawless. In today's video, I wanted to do a review and thoughts on these markers that I'm showing. These are the Tri-Blend markers from Crafter's Companion, and I do have the entire line of the Tri-Blend markers, and let me just say I love these markers. I am going to show you an example of a Digi stamp that I did color in with it, and hopefully I can fit a quick tutorial in as well. As of right now, there are 48 markers in total for the Tri-Blend line. The only shade that is definitely missing that would be very beneficial is black. Now, obviously, you can make that shade if you wanted to. And everything that I'm showing you is from the lighter end. These actually have a dark end to them as well, okay? Now, if you're not familiar with the Tri-Blend markers, this is what they look like. You get a light, a medium, and a dark shade, and these are actually refillable. They do have the name of the shade on both ends, and as you can tell, there is a color difference in the marker on each end. It does have a nib on it, which for me I like. I know others are used to the Copic markers, which have the nice brush tip on it, but it depends on what you work on and what you're comfortable with as far as what type of brush that you want. But personally, I just absolutely love these markers. I love the fact that you don't really have to worry about too much guesswork as far as how you would blend your shades out. And then with it, like I said before, there are 48 markers, but each marker is actually 3 shades. So you figure you're getting a very huge range of the color spectrum. Now, with the Tri-Blend markers, you do receive a how to achieve a smooth blend. So they suggest that you put the light color down over the entire area. You use your dark color next, and then you use your mid-tone color to blend slightly over the dark area, and then to blend everything over again, you use your lighter shade. And I would definitely have to say, for the most part, that's what I did. That's not like a set in stone way, but in order to achieve a smooth blend or gradation of color with alcohol markers, you do need to know how to properly blend. So let me show you. Here is a Digi stamp that I actually colored, and this image is from Krista Leigh Smith, and I think she's also the owner of Saturated Canary. I love her images. She has some of my absolute favorite images. This is the Working Girl Digi stamp, and I love her hair. I absolutely loved it. So pretty much every portion of this that you see is 3 colors blended together, and that's what I wanted to show you all, that with one of these pens you can get all of this blending done. So I'm going to do a quick tutorial, and I'll show you all just how I did the hair on this one. When you work on your pictures, I highly recommend that you go ahead and write down every shade that you use so that you can always reference back to that, and it'll make it a little faster. Now, you can actually print out on their website. They do have some little swatches that you could print out. I printed this one out so I can do my swatches directly from the marker as I'm using it, but they actually have it already pre-printed out for you so that you can pretty much have an idea as to what all of your markers look like. Now they do come in packs of 6, and that's how I purchased all of mine. The carrier for them is a separate purchase as well. That is not something that comes with the markers, but I would say if you are going to grow your line of the tri-blend markers, that you definitely want to get the holder for it. And Crafter's Companion has been having some amazing sales lately, and that would definitely be the time to go ahead and get them. So as you can see, I have not swatched out all of my markers, but to make it a little easier for me, what I did was swatch them out as I've been coloring in some images so that I can go ahead and test what shade it is that I might want to use in an image. Now, as far as the paper that I use the Nina Index cardstock paper. I've already posted my favorite paper to use for alcohol inks, printables, and coffee dye paper. So I'll have that video linked below, but I just want to give you a really quick tutorial on how these markers actually work. To do the hair for my Digi stamp, these are the 2 markers that I'm going to use. So this is the Tanned Blend as well as the Earth Brown shades. And like I told you before, you do have what looks like 2 different ends of your markers, and that's just showing you the light, the dark, and the medium. These are refillable. They do sell refillable inks for these markers. You can buy them individually, and beside your markers, the only other thing I would say, if you're just using them to color, you would just need some kind of white jelly pen. It definitely helps when you need to fill in areas where you need some white. So that would be the whites of the eyes. I use them on my cup here, and then also just a small little dot to showcase the highlight on her lips. So I am going to start with my one color, and you always want to make sure that you have another sheet of paper underneath your Digi stamp, and these are the shades that I decided that I wanted to use for this particular Digi stamp. So again, always writing everything down. I'm going to first go in with my lighter shade of all of these. So I'm just showing you all that you don't have to use the one marker. You can go in with other markers. And I'm going to, in circular motions, go ahead and fill in the lighter color of my stamp. Okay, now this is just going to saturate your paper so that you can go ahead and blend the other color. So now I'm going to go in with my mid-tone color, which would be EB5, and it says light here, but I'm using it as my mid-tone shade, and I'm just going to go over the artist's lines to kind of help bring some texture from her curls in. And you want to make sure you do this while the ink is wet. You don't want to let it dry, because that's how they work. That's how they blend better as well. So again, you could have gone directly in with your darker shade, but for me, I like to make sure that I go in with my mid-tone shade first and then my darker shade. So my darker shade is going to be EB6 for this particular one, even though it says mid-tone shade for that one. So now I'm going to go over all of the other areas where I had that. Okay, and again, you want to make sure that you're working while this is wet. All right, and now to go ahead and blend those colors in, I'm going to go back in with my chosen lighter shade, which is TN2, and I'm just going to go over and blend all of those colors together. And that's really how you do it. You just got to know your blending, know where you actually want your highlights and your shading to be. And if you know what highlighting and shading is, then coloring is a breeze, okay? So if you want to, you can stop there. If you feel like you need to go in with any more, then you can definitely, do that as well. So let me just show you all what that looks like. Any harsh lines or anything, if you feel like anything's harsh, you want to go in while the paper is still saturated before it dries. So here's the difference between the shades that I used for this one and the shades I used for my first example. See? And if I wanted to, if I felt like anything was a little too dark, then I could just go right back in and do some more shading. But again, you want to make sure that you do this while your marker is, or while the ink on the paper is still somewhat wet, okay? And you don't want to put too much down, but you also want to put enough so that you can go ahead and do your blending. And I cannot speak highly enough of these markers. And if you ever get confused, just make sure that you are paying attention to what marker it is that you're using when you are pulling these out to use them, because I was moving fast earlier and almost mixed up some of my colors. So hopefully this helps you all. I cannot speak highly enough of these markers. I really do like them. It's one of those things you kind of just have to get it and play with it. And in my opinion, if you're new to alcohol markers, this is a great way to get your foot in there and get your feet wet and go ahead and start using them. And let me show you. See how it's saturated but it didn't go through? I love these markers. So I hope that this demo was good enough for you to get some understanding as to how to make these markers work. If you have any questions or comments, please be sure to leave them below, and I will see you all in the next video. As always, and until next time, have a gorgeous day, Smooches. Mwah. Bye.